Hey, welcome back, everybody. And the question of the day is, what the heck? Why would existing home sales give back December gains? We're going to talk a little bit about that because that's more of a national type of statistic versus more local, since we didn't have massive snowstorms over the last few weeks. But anyway, let's talk about that. We're going to talk about the metrics. We're going to talk about new construction and foreclosures. How can you best navigate today? What are recommendations for buyers and sellers this upcoming week and into March? And what should we expect, both in mortgage rates, market trend, and pricing? Let's get to it. All right. So when we talk about the January existing home sales giving back kind of December gains, that's a tad bit misleading, because remember, when we take a look at the closings in January, technically those were homes that went under contract in December because it takes on average 30 days to close. Just as in February, that's when we'll see what went under contract in January. And so our market locally here actually has been doing pretty well. As you've been watching, normally we've been taking, if we add a new home on average, we're taking 1.3 homes going pended. This last week, you're going to see it's more of a 1-to-1, but that is what we're looking at now. The other amazing thing is that, again, we're still at that just a shade above 6% or 0.78%, over 0.75% lower in rate than where we were at even just a year ago. So again, let's make sure that as you're reading headlines, you're reading things that are more relevant to us. So if we pop over and we take a look at one of the comments that was given by Lawrence Yoon, super great guy. He says, hey, listen, numbers were really disappointing. However, we're still not seeing an ease on some of the affordability issues. And, even wage numbers and employment numbers are improving. It's still, they are struggling, and that's a given. Okay, so if we take that into consideration, we just apply it to our area locally, all things considered, we're doing much better than that. And let's get into the whys. So when we take a look at, let me get rid of myself here. When we take a look at just the headlines, again, January existing homes are giving back a little bit. Mortgage week, we've been seeing a better improvement for mortgage rates. In fact, it's one of the best we've seen in a couple of weeks. Mortgage rates slide to new multi-week lows. And then in the upper right-hand corner, you can see we're at 6.04. Just 2 weeks ago, we were at 6.15. And so as we take a look at these numbers and what's going on, we're actually seeing a good movement moving forward as far as sales and whatnot. Here we can see consistently our rates are actually coming down, and they have been coming down. They're again 0.78 or a little over 0.75% less today than where they were at last year at this time. The big difference that we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of the sideline buyers coming out. We're seeing a lot of applications happening, and we're starting to see some multiple offers actually happening right now. It is, again, very much driven on the first impression, which is price. If sellers are coming on at what buyers feel is a good, solid price, they're seeing multiple offers hands down. If, however, you are overpriced, you are going to sit on market. So if your home sells in the first 7 days, you're going to get between 100 and 107% of list price. If you miss that mark and you go out to 20 days, you're going to look at only 98, maybe 96% of list price. In fact, the Northwest MLS average right now is 96.7. So the average list price right now, as far as on market, is greater than that. So if you go out to 40 days, you're going to look at 92, 93% of list price. So you can clearly see the longer you're on market as a seller, the less dollars you're going to have in your pocket. It's not me saying it. That is statistically proven time and time again. So just saying. All right. So when we take a look at rate has, without a doubt, the biggest impact on what's going to happen in the market on a daily basis. So when we look at this, the good news is that as far as time on market, we're actually lower by 8 days than where we were at a week ago. The average for the Northwest MLS is about 65. We're normally at about 53. When we take a look at list to sales price, we're at 96% versus the 99, 98% that we normally see. Now, is that a big deal? Okay. So if a home is overpriced, naturally you're going to see that differential. Does that mean that our pricing is coming down? We are seeing some softening prices in certain areas. Now, understand, these are 3/4 of Washington state. So we're taking into consideration, the Pacific Beach. We're taking into consideration Okanagan, Clallam County, areas that are very rural, and that kind of comes into the mix. If we look at just King, Pierce, and Snohomish County, those numbers look completely different, but that would be inconsistent for our weekly metrics on single family only. All things considered, we're still looking as far as market times, as far as what's going on. Let's just take a look at the average of the last 7 days. So when we take a look at this, there's 908 homes that came on market in the last 7 days. We took off 907. Now, I can tell you that we were at the 750-ish, 725 on Wednesday, which is kind of that midweek. Friday is always a big list day. So the next day, those numbers always come up. Even still, when we take a look at inventory, who would have thought in February for every home coming on, there's a home going off? Technically right now, for every home coming on, 1.3 homes are going pended. And so there is a greater volume. In fact, that's why we have reduced the overall months of inventory down, which is actually quite good. So when we come back, let's go over there. When we come back, hang on a second. Remember to like and subscribe. It helps the channel. There's no marketing, just solid metrics each and every week. Let's talk about the Northwest MLS. Let's talk about some of these numbers that we're looking at. And in fact, let's blow them up. Here we go. So the top chart, super simple. Yes, we're down about 429 homes for closing, which again, remember, all of the closings that we're talking about right now, those were last month. Those are contracts or went under contract last month. When we take and we start rolling those forward, then we start to see, different numbers as our spring continues to improve. Even still, when we take a look at pended is up 8.9 or 519 homes, or roughly about 90 homes more pended than did not get sold year over year. Now, when we also take a look at the month to date, again, as you see, I have January written there. Look, we're down 163 homes, and we did have kind of a sluggish beginning of January. We're halfway through February. That tells us that, hey, you know what? I have a sneaking hunch like last month, our numbers are going to probably come real close to breaking even, if not improve a little bit, because we're 348 homes pended more than where we were at this time last year. Super important, again, to remember, when we're looking at solds, let's look in the rearview mirror. Pended and active, those are dynamic numbers. Those are numbers that are happening right now, not what happened last month that we're waiting to percolate coming through. All right, so when we come over, we take a look at pricing. Pricing is super important because what you're seeing here is an increase in pricing as far as actual average sold price. Last week we were down, this week we're up, next week we could be up or down. It just depends. It doesn't mean that the value of your home is doing this. That only matters if you're getting ready to sell your home. The question is now a good time to start getting ready for that? And that answer is yes. Why? Super simple. Because as we start taking a look at homes and we take a look at our spring market, when I would say probably about mid-March, early mid-March, when the leaves start coming out, things like that, that is really one of the greatest times to come on market because we start seeing a lot more green. People can look at things, they get a better perspective of what is out there and what that home is actually going to look like, with the green foliage and whatnot. Now, if you have evergreen trees and whatnot, that's a little different, but I'm talking about flowering plants and trees that are deciduous, so they have leaves and whatnot. Those are the best times because people have a better perspective. They can see that. Only 10% of the people can see value through something. Now, that doesn't mean the other 90% are bad. They just can't see it. They need to, physically see it. I knew I could spit it out. Anyway, with that being said, in March, do expect a large number of homes coming on market, and our rates will stay the same. They may dip down into the fives again. Not sure. They did the dip that we already said that they would, and it is possible. It just depends. Again, do they do a brief mortgage-backed security purchase? Not sure they will. But there's economic forms that might dip us down, and if so, it'll be brief. Doing your first buy down, super cheap right now. That is typically a really good move. Is that first buy down gives you a really good rate, because to refinance, there are some folks who say, "Oh no, wait for the rates to come down." For that to be a benefit, you really need to have a 1%, at least greater than 0.75% drop in rate to make a refinance make sense, just because of the cost and the repayment and everything else. So keep that in mind. So if you're on the fence of, hey, should I refinance? If you're anywhere of 6.875 and above, doing a refinance now makes a lot of sense for you. And then again, look at that first buy down. It's normally very small dollars. The second buy down is brutally expensive, but the first one normally pretty cheap, and that will get you, an eighth, sometimes a quarter. Excuse me. So let's jump back into our numbers here. Let's talk a little bit about new construction. New construction actually has they've made some marketable improvements. When we take a look at the solds, what we've done, what we're looking at, let's blow this up for you. As far as coming on market, we've seen a few new homes coming on market, but the amount of solds, as far as the lack of solds, it says it's down 23%. Excuse me, about 180 homes. That is absolutely identical to where it was last year. However, is when we take a look at it as far as month over month, our numbers actually improved. We were at 1.3 months or 1.3%. More homes sold last week. We're up to 9.6%, or roughly about 32 homes. Again, really positive numbers coming out on new construction. There's been some new projects that opened up that are giving a lot of buyers out there some real incentive to come in and take a look at it. Yes, there's a lot of folks, because of cost of products, cost of fuel, everything else, that is coming in playing that they're wanting to be closer, or that perception of drive time, because our traffic still sucks. Anyway, so being out rural and working from home, which is not as available. So that's why we're seeing a lot more folks coming in, and some of the new construction, except for infill, is out a little bit further. So they're offering different incentives to make that a little bit better. Now, when we come over and we start taking a look at pricing is spot on. We're up both on the month over month. As far as what we've done, it's only up about $14,000. And then when we talk about year to date, we're up about $25,000 of actual home cost. And that's going to be pretty consistent. We will see that. Again, it bobbles through the year, depending on which projects are selling over the others. Not all projects are created equal. Just saying. Anyway, so if you're still looking at new construction, or that's an option you want to think about, it is still a great time to consider that as we head into the spring, because we do have a lot of resale inventory coming on market. And so builders that is their biggest competition. And how do they draw those eyeballs away from the resale construction? So make sure that the agent you're working with knows how to negotiate new construction. If they don't, they're not going to get the benefits that you could be leaving tens of thousands all on the table. Just saying. All right, moving on. Okay, let's move over to bank-owned homes. So bank-owned homes right now, again, I guarantee you somebody's going to come in and start saying, oh my gosh, it's Armageddon. I mean, look, we've got 45% increase in foreclosures coming on market. This is 3/4 of Washington State. That's 9 homes. Okay, that's pretty much peanuts. When we talk about an 11.8% increase in sales, that's 2 homes. Oh my gosh, pendants are up 5.3%. That's 1 home. That's month over month. Year to date, 3/4 of Washington State, 11 homes, 19 homes more sold, 35 more homes came on market. Don't get me wrong. It's super sad to see anybody in foreclosure and to have their home become a bank-owned home or an REO, real estate owned. Super sad. I totally get it. However, our numbers are super low. There are numbers that they're saying, "Oh my gosh, there's a lot of shadow inventory. There's a lot of foreclosures out there that are it's just dragging down the market." I'm not sure where that is. I know that the typical, the Florida, the California, parts of California, your Detroit, your Texas and Arizona markets that are tend to be a lot more volatile. Even those areas, actually, when I talk to all of my fellow agents in those areas, they're not seeing some of the numbers that are being pushed out. They're saying there's a lot of shadow inventory. In fact, there's one guy 3 months ago said, by now our real estate market should have crashed. It's not. We are doing very well. Yeah, we're not making land speed records. We do figure that as we progress through the year, we probably will see a 6 to 8% appreciation this year if things continue trending the way that we say they will or think they will. We're normally pretty accurate. We said 4% last year. It was 3%. So we weren't too far off. Anyway, if you have any questions, put it down below. Let us know what you have. We don't haunt you. We just answer your question. Sometimes we answer it with a video because it's easier. And in the meantime, smash that subscribe button for us. And I'll see you guys on the next video. It's absolutely beautiful out there. Have an absolutely amazing weekend. And happy Valentine's Day. Take care.